and welcome back to Riley's on the Road.
Last week we were in San Antonio, Texas.
Let's see what we did there.
On our way to San Antonio, we had to make a detour to get gas in a small town named Iran. We were running really low, and I'd passed the last gas station on half a tank. After that, we stopped for the night. It was 10 hours from Big Bend to San Antonio, so we stopped halfway in Sonora, Texas. It turned out there was a high school football game right next to our campground, so we headed over to watch and eat. It was the Broncos against the Buffaloes, with the Broncos home field. When we got there, it was almost halftime. There was 28-0 Broncos in the lead. When it was halftime though, the Buffaloes showed they might not be as good as the Broncos in football, but they definitely won in band. Their band was huge! They were much more enthusiastic than the Bronco band. Back on the field though, the Broncos were destroying the Buffalo team. The game ended with scores 48-21, Broncos winning.
On Sunday, we went to visit our uncle and cousins. Our aunt, my mom's sister, was out of town for family business, so unfortunately we didn't get to see her. My mom's dad and stepmom recently bought a lake house outside of San Antonio, and our cousins Malia and Tyson go over there all the time, so they showed us around. It was our first time seeing the house, but it seemed really nice. Then we went to Malia and Tyson's house to have burgers for lunch.
Our campground had special inhabitants. Besides people, there were deer. Now, I know that doesn't sound very special, but trust me, they were. These deer were very curious. On the first day, my dad got within 3 feet from one. They were not skittish at all. Then, later that day, a deer was in our campsite and walked right up to us, expecting to be fed. We did not feed her, but she was so close that we reached out and pet her. We named her Dusty because of her dusty color.
Are you actually touching the deer?
I touched its nose.
Oh, I pet it.
Oh.
I just touched it. I actually touched it. Those deers back there are like, what is that deer doing? The campground had a really nice pool we went swimming in. One morning we woke up at 5 a.m. to see a full lunar eclipse. It was very pretty and amazing to witness.
While in San Antonio, the tread on our tires bulged, so Dad put on a spare. Then we went to a dealership to get an oil change, and we did school there. As an outing one day, we went to the Whitty Museum. It is a nature, science, and culture museum with lots of exhibits. There's a dinosaur gallery, Texas Heritage Center, and a taxidermy exhibit. My favorite though is what they call the Treehouse. It is an interactive health center. There's a lot of information on how to stay healthy and what your health was now. A few of the activities were riding an exercise bike, a tightrope, and a track your speed activity. With that activity, we did some funny moves to track their speed. One day, my dad was letting the dogs out and he heard a squirrel. The squirrel was angry at my bunny in his exercise bin, and that squirrel was really mad. Can you hear his angry noises? On Tuesday night, my mom and dad went to a comedian named J.P. Sears' show. He's a comedian my parents like watching on YouTube, and they recommend for you guys to check it out. They said, and I quote, "He was hilarious, and it was nice seeing someone we are familiar with from YouTube."
San Antonio is known for its famous historical attraction, the Alamo, so we had to see it. The Alamo was an old mission where a famous battle of the Mexican-American War took place. The Alamo was under siege by the Mexican army for 13 days with Texans hiding inside. On March 6, 1836, the battle commenced. Almost all the people inside perished in the battle, including a few well-known people such as Davy Crockett and James Bowie. Although the Battle of the Alamo was lost, it gave courage to the Texans in future battles, and Remember the Alamo was a popular battle cry. After the Alamo, we decided to get dinner at the San Antonio Riverwalk. It reminds me a lot of Venice, Italy, except it's in Texas. We chose a Mexican restaurant out of the many restaurants lining the river. We had great Mexican food and horchata. Along with the Alamo, we visited other missions at the San Antonio Missions National Historical Park. We saw Mission San Jose and Mission Esplanada.
This week's expenses turned out pretty good. They usually do when we stay at 1,000 Trails, which is included in our membership. Stadium RV was a great deal for full hookups, but a very interesting setup with a mix of mobile homes and long-term stays. We were out and about this week, so had quite a few meals out. Dinner on the Riverwalk was memorable. The Science Museum ASTC membership is already paying off. We saved $62 at this museum alone. I do not include normal expenses like food, gas, and other expenses we had at home, but they do add up. For example, there is little bargain food shopping when you only have enough space for 1 week worth of food. This week, we got a diesel oil change, which runs about 3 times as much as normal. One of these days, I plan to do a video update for all the extra costs.
We had a great time in San Antonio with our cousins.
See you next week on Rise on the Road. Bye!